Mariana,
Hey, Keaton.
it's good to see you.
It's good to see you too. It's been a hot minute.
It's been a bit, but now it's summer and we've got a little bit of time. We're chilling. Well, maybe not chilling. That's probably not the right word. It's too hot to chill.
No, oh my God. Don't even get me started on the Florida weather. But yes, we're back. We're in business. It's awesome.
Per usual, I have a question for you.
Of course, hit me up.
No shade, but do you think you get enough physical activity during the day?
Why would you ask me that? You know the answer is absolutely not. I do force myself to take the stairs at work for lunch. So, there's a flight of stairs climbed like a couple of times within that 8 hour window. Okay, but no, no.
Yeah, I mean, same. We have very sedentary jobs. I will say that when I was reading this article that I'm bringing to you, I was doing it on a bike in the gym, and it brought me back to grad school when I did all of my reading on bikes at the gym. Because again, like our jobs are very sedentary. There's a lot of sitting and sitting still, and a lot of people feel this way in the economy. And so I've got this really cool paper for you that talks about not only physical activity at work, but also unhealthy snacking at work. I am very guilty of that as well. I've got my little candy jar that's empty, except for like year-old peanut M&Ms.
I mean, honestly, props to you that it's made it that long because, yes. Anyway, I feel personally attacked by this article choice, but no, it's going to be good. I really need to hear it. So let's do it.
Same. It's me search, right? So there's this cool study from Völker, Koch, and Sonnentag, just published in the Journal of Occupational Health Psychology. And what's one of the first things that I want to like highlight is that they do a true experiment, right? It's not very common that we get like true field experiments in IO psychology, but we have one here where they have an intervention designed to increase work time physical activity and decrease work time unhealthy snacking. So think like calorie dense, nutrient poor foods. Everyone's on their own food journeys, but typically these are like high risk foods. So thinking about like chips and cake, right? So before we dive in though and talk about like the nitty gritty, I'd like to do like a little mini version of this intervention with you and our listeners. They can follow along and do it for themselves. Are you down to do some mental
Yes,
contrasting? Okay,
absolutely. Let's do it.
cool. So first of all, think of a goal you have. This study, obviously, it was focused on physical activity and unhealthy snacking, but here for right now, it could be any goal. So just think of a goal that you have.
Okay.
For me, I would love to lose 15 pounds. I think it'd be good times.
Okay.
Um,
Do
okay,
I need to
now,
share my goal?
no, you can keep it to yourself.
Okay.
Unless you want to share, you're welcome to share.
Well, see, when you said think of a goal for yourself, I went to a work goal. So now I have to change my goal.
Girly pop, no, this is a health podcast. I mean, I said you could have any goal. It could be a work goal, but like whatever.
No, no, no. Okay. I got a health goal. I do have a health goal for real.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, sweet. Now, think of a positive outcome of attaining that goal. What would that be? What would your life look like if you achieved that goal? And for me, for example, I think I would just feel a lot better with my shirt off and a lot more comfortable. And like that would feel good to me. Not that I don't ever, like, I take my shirt off all the time, but
This is anyone
it's,
who knows
it's,
you knows that this is the perfect example for you. So, okay, that's
yeah,
yes. Okay,
it's,
good. I'm tracking. Should I share mine?
okay. If you want to, you don't have to.
Okay, we're just gonna walk through with your example and then we'll see at
Okay,
the end.
cool.
Okay.
Now think of an obstacle that might make it hard to achieve that goal, right? So something that's in your way of achieving that goal. And for me, that is like I eat like a hooligan at night when there's snacks or sweets or anything in the house. Just give me, I will Cookie Monster them up,
Yes. Yes.
right? Okay.
Okay.
And so now make a quick plan to overcome that obstacle. So if X happens, then I'll Y. So for me, if I get the munchies for sweet stuff like a bag of chocolate chips, I will instead eat an apple.
That was the saddest way you could have delivered that sentence. Okay. All right.
I want to be excited about this apple, but I'm not. So like this probably isn't like the best way to overcome this goal, this obstacle. Maybe I'll
I
drink
love
some
it.
water. I don't know. I'll do
Okay.
something. We'll stick, but we get the idea.
Yes.
Okay. But now, also make a quick plan to prevent the obstacle in the first place. So, like, if I want to buy chocolate chips to have in the house, I just won't. And we will not
Okay.
have chocolate chips,
Okay.
for example,
Okay.
right?
All right.
For
I'm
me,
tracking.
maybe other people have healthier relationships with chocolate chips. I do not.
No.
Um,
Yeah. Me
one
neither.
time in graduate school, I had like a stain on my the door to my bedroom because I would like wake up in the middle of the night to go eat chocolate and it would melt in my hands while I was like eating it. And so I like looked on my door, I was like, what is this? And I like realized I was like, oh, this is just like chocolate from like nighttime munchies. And I still have that problem.
So on brand,
Okay,
Peyton. So on
right?
brand. Okay.
Very much so. I'm a consistent boy. All right, now make a plan to make use of a favorable opportunity for goal progress. So, like if, for example, you wanted to walk outside, like if it's nice outside, I'll go for a walk. In the instance of like I want to lose 10 pounds, like I want to stop eating unhealthy food at night. For me, it could be like on the nights when I am not physically hungry, I won't snack out of habit. I think like that's a good way to like take advantage of an opportunity of like sometimes when I'm snacking, it's because I'm hungry and like the easiest thing to reach for is sweets. Other times I snack just out of habit. So I'll take advantage of the days when I'm actually not hungry and just move forward on that.
Yeah. That's
Cool?
good. That's that. Yes, I have an example. Mine's pretty similar to yours. It's about eating healthy, whole foods. My mom always called me the junk food queen because I've always loved like processed Cheez-Its, like Sour Patch Kids. So I'm on a health journey to try to be healthier. And my obstacle is freaking the desk in front of our amazing team of admins. Like they have a like literally 10 pack of giant fun size candy from Costco. They just fill
Yes.
up those bowls every day. I am like a known like stalker of these bowls. Like I get up like from my cubicle like at least 5 times to just they have like the giant Snickers fun. And it's not the mini, it's like the fun size. It's like the legit fun. And I'm there all the time. And yeah, the office is actually a really bad place for me with this journey. So, but here's the thing where their desk is, we have this beautiful new floor. We talked about it before on this podcast, and I can avoid their, like, I don't need to be walking by their desks.
Okay.
Like, there's a hallway where I could go directly to my cube. Like, there's another, like, I could avoid it. I could just stop going there 10 times a day. So that's what I'm thinking about. Um, and then I'm also thinking about bringing lunch more. So, all
Okay.
right,
Oh,
we're
that
good.
sounded sad too. I understand. Okay, cool.
We're good.
So we went through it, and that was like a
Yes.
really good example of the
Yes.
intervention that they did. Um, I wanted to give our listeners this tool because it's really quick, it's simple, and it can be applied to any goal. And it's been replicated in a couple of different types of studies. This particular paper pulled it from some of these, right? So let's talk about the specific study. They trained about 100 people in Germany on this and had them go through this focusing both on unhealthy snacking and physical activities. So specifically setting goals around walking and then reducing unhealthy snacking. And then over 2 weeks, they had participants do this same activity. So first they did it at baseline, and then every morning they do this again, but like a smaller version for either snacking or physical activity for that day. So rather than like over the next 2 weeks, I want to do this, it's today I will do this. And then what's also fun is in one condition, the participants got to choose which they were focusing on for that day, snacking or physical activity. And in the other condition, they were assigned to which one to focus on. And then in a third condition, they were just passive control. They got nothing. So we can like really compare intervention versus control. And then these two types of interventions, you have control over which one you're doing that day versus you're assigned to which one you're doing that day. Follow? So our three
Yeah.
groups.
Yes. Got it.
The interventions got more physical activity on average than the control group. So this intervention increased physical activity. We can causally attribute this here. It's not just correlational. By doing this intervention at baseline and then having these daily interventions, you walked more.
Hmm.
It didn't, however, affect unhealthy snacking, which I think we both picked
Mm.
up on. That one's real hard. It's real
That
hard to
one's
get to.
so tough. Yes.
And within the intervention, the groups that got to choose their daily goals were more physically active than the ones who had it assigned to them. But again, no difference for snacking. And then interestingly, nothing really happened on the daily levels. So it didn't matter if you were getting snacking or eating goals at the beginning of the day. There were no daily effects of the intervention. It was just on average over the course of 2 weeks, we saw these big differences. So a lot of interventions take time to unfold when we're thinking about unhealthy behaviors. It's not going to be like one day we're suddenly better, right? On days when I have this intervention for snacking versus exercise, that's doing a lot. But just like on the whole, trying to pursue these goals, we see this increased level of physical activity. So
Interesting.
pretty straightforward. But and this is the part that I think is really cool about the study, there were a lot of exploratory analyses to see like why is this what's going on? This is not exactly what they expected. What's going on? And the thing that I love the most is that for unhealthy snacking, when researchers looked at baseline levels of unhealthy snacking, the intervention didn't do anything for people that were already like not doing it that much. But if you were at average or high levels of unhealthy snacking, so if you were Mariana or Keaton, then this intervention did reduce unhealthy snacking compared to the control group. So they didn't find that effect when they just looked, on average. But once they took into account where you were sort of entering into this journey as far as your unhealthy snacking, if you were someone that snacked a medium or large amount, this actually did a useful, good job of reducing your unhealthy snacking during the workday. And they also looked at job characteristics and found a similar pattern where if you had a job that was low in demands, so not a particularly stressful job, not high levels of workload, the intervention didn't do anything for you for your physical activity. But if you had average or high levels, then that's when it had this expected effect. And so, what's really, I think, exciting about this is unlike so many other interventions, this wasn't a rich get richer effect. This was one where we actually see the people who need this intervention are the ones that benefit from it. Where usually what we see is that you give this intervention and those who already have the resources or the skills can apply it and do even better. Here, they're finding that it's most helpful for those who need it. And I think that was awesome.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And also, good on the people who already have low levels. They're like, listen, I treat myself to one little treat a day. I'm going to take that. And then the other people who are at the levels where they shouldn't be, it's like, all right, I'm going to course correct. That's a really cool study. And I'm glad that they went and dug in and looked a little more at the unhealthy snacking. So it does work. There is hope. Keaton, there's hope for us. This is
There's hope. We could do this.
good. Awesome. Very cool. So, what did you find the most surprising about this study? I'm just curious. Like what was the thing where you were just, I don't want to say shocked, but it just came out of left field a bit for you?
Yeah. Um, it's less about the findings themselves and more about like the actual writing and has it's reflective of a shift in the field that I am pleasantly surprised to see. More and more I'm seeing this shift. And I just want to like read you this quote because I knew you'd ask me this question. And I was like, when I came across this quote in the paper, I was surprised and super excited. So they said, quote, we again want to note that we deem it important not to shift the responsibility solely to individual employees. Organizations should be held responsible for reducing job demands and increasing job resources. And this is in response to like the job characteristics being predictive of these unhealthy behaviors. And this is an intervention focused on the individual level and having people address their own health behaviors in the context of work. And to have this line about like, we recognize that we're giving people tools to survive in these systems of stress, but like the responsibility of reducing that stress from a systemic level is on the organization. Let's not forget that. I loved seeing that. And like, we need more of that in our field. We always talk about the systems level approach here on this podcast. It's one of them, it's one of the drums I will never get tired of beating, but it's like really exciting to see that in the paper. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, the job characteristics thing is very interesting. And part of me wonders, is this just a job where, people have more flexibility and ability to get up and walk around and they have the ability to be more mindful and go down and spend a minute, they have a cafeteria with better food choices. Like those are some of the things that are, going through my mind, but also to your point, if your job is really stressing you out, you do not have the mental capacity or ability or resources to make healthier choices, right? You're just in survival mode, right? Your cortisol's up, your stress is up. So there's multiple ways in which the organization can make their jobs better, make the work environment better, but also just make it less stressful, is what I'm hearing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. So if I'm an employer, what's one thing I should take away from this study besides don't make crappy jobs?
Step one, don't make crappy jobs. Um, I think giving people the flexibility to pursue their health goals in this, through the lens of this intervention, for example. So not forcing it on anyone, not making a big deal about it because we know that can backfire sometimes of creating like negative health oriented environments, but giving people the flexibility to get up and walk around, to go take breaks and walk in the sun, to have access to healthy food, maybe not having calorie dense food be readily available at the front desk, right? Things along those lines to help facilitate people's journeys, I think is something that you can do here just to make it a little bit easier to pursue some of these goals. I also think it wouldn't be harmful to introduce this style of goal setting. We know about SMART goals, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. That's made its way pretty much strongly into pop culture and businesses. They're all about SMART goals, for better for worse. But I think the story doesn't have to stop there. I think taking this intervention and bringing that in to help people pursue those goals and plan for the contingencies, because we know one of the best ways to make sure that you follow through on behavior is to think through all the ways that like it might not actually happen. So giving people access to this information and this type of secondary goal setting, I think would be helpful as well.
Well, I think that's a very, very noble idea for our companies out there listening. Think about ways you can support your employees to make these small changes. And then, another cool takeaway I think from this is encourage people to stick at it. You might not see the gains every day, but in a couple weeks, you're going to start seeing a difference overall. So very cool, Keaton.
Ooh, and one more thing.
Yes.
For like our die-hard IO Psych nerds, or maybe our graduate students,
I'm ready.
do we remember the Hawthorne effect?
Yes.
Right? Where when I'm
people are being
observed,
studied, right?
my behavior changes, typically my performance is going to go up. They found evidence of it in this study where physical activity at the beginning of the study was higher than physical activity at the end. There's like a linear negative trajectory of physical activity over the course of the study. And they suggest like that might be in line with observational effects, or what we'd consider the Hawthorne effect. It might also be like the New Year's Day effect where you set goals, you plan, and then you go to the gym and then it taper off. But regardless, they found that in the data, and I just thought that was really cool and just like a nice little tidbit that I wanted to throw in there for our IO Psych nerds. And then one other thing for our non-IO Psych nerds who have also stuck through that, here's one more tidbit for you. They found that unhealthy snacking was higher on days when you worked from home than when you worked from the office, probably because we all have easier access to unhealthy snacking at home. So just one other thing to keep in mind.
Oh, that's it's funny. It's funny you say that because although I blame work, um, I do blame the work environment and all the food that they have. I
Uh-huh.
do find myself snacking more at home because no one's going to
Busted.
judge me. Yeah, no one's going to judge me if I bust out my toddler's Auntie Anne's cheddar bunnies and
Oh,
just eat them by the
yeah.
handful, right? So
Yeah.
that's a fair call. Okay,
Dude,
noted.
I get it. I like I've started working at my gym because it has like this like lounge area because slash bar. It's a very confusing gym. I don't understand. There's a bar at my gym. I don't drink at the bar, but I do my work there because I will only pack an apple and some protein bars. Like this is my snack. Where if I'm at home, anytime I get bored or anytime I run into frustration with my job, I can just like stand up, go get some chocolate chips, and then come back down. Like it's just a little
Yes,
treat to make it through the next part. But here, I've got like my 2 protein bars and an apple. That's it, baby.
that's it. Yep,
It's gotta
yeah,
last you for
that's
the day.
valid. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, good tips. I guess I have to go into the office and work, but
Uh,
it's been great, Keaton.
thanks, Mariana. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.